Today, we will talk about every single curse technique in the game. We're gonna explain what everything does, as it's something new. A lot of people have questions about it, and then we will rank them all in a tier list from best to worst. So, first things first, guys, a question that has been asked by a lot of people. How do you get curse technique rerolls? Currently, you can only get them by doing quests, and there is one-time completion quests, such as complete waves on Nightmare stages and Nightmare Infinites. I think there's 7 for every infinite, 7 crystals, and then it's 1 for each nightmare stage. I think there's only stages for Namek and for the first map. The second and the third one don't have, but so far that's the only way you can actually access rerolls, and besides that a bunch of codes, and at that point you just have to spend Robux. Now there might be introduction of ways to actually farm curse rerolls, maybe through daily quests or something, I don't know, but for now that's pretty much it. But anyway, let's jump into the tier list. So obviously the best in the game, as nobody's surprised, Overlord. Overlord is essentially the unique of AA. It increases your damage by 275%. It gives you 75% crit damage, 15 range, and minus 27.5 SPA. Obviously, caps your unit at 1 placement limit. And yeah, I think that's probably the best curse in the game. But we also have another one that works in a similar way. It also limits your placement to 1. Now, when the game came out 2 days ago, this was saying that it was +1 placement. It's not +1 placement, guys. It is a single placement with Avatar as well. It was just a mistake on the tooltip. But yeah, Avatar basically increases your damage by 35%. It looks very weak if you compare it to Overlord's 275, 50 range, and minus 5 SPA. But what it does is actually turbo buffs your dot damage units, so your elemental damage, bleed, burn, etc., whatever might be introduced into the future. You have 2x dot duration, so the dot stays on the target for twice as long. Dismantle, bleed, etc., and it does 2.5 times more damage. So honestly, Overlord versus Avatar might be very close numeric wise, and it might just come down to what type of unit do you have. Now, bleed is elemental, and bleed does count for this because a lot of people have been asking. It does contribute to that. And yeah, honestly, I can't tell you what's better. Like, a lot of people will ask, what's better for Sukuna? I don't know. I think it's Overlord because Sync joined me yesterday, the game owner, and he had Overlord on his Sukuna. I don't know, might have just been just because he chose that. I don't know whether it is better, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, some oil-rich king that's watched this video gets a unit duplicate and gets both of the passives on the same unit and tests it out for us. Thank you very much. But yeah. Oh, wait. I have to rerun the stage. My bad. Right. We're back. Next up, on the S tier, we have All Seeing. Now, the first thing that you might have noticed, I put All Seeing above Shinigami, which is a more common passive. So, in theory, it shouldn't be better because it's more common. But in my opinion, it is. We'll talk about it in a little bit. So, what does All Seeing do? 15% damage, 55 range, minus 10 SPA, and then it gives 35% crit and 80% crit damage. So, realistically, your unit has like 70% critical strike chance with that curse technique. I think it's really good, and I think it's better than Shinigami, which gives 35% damage, 10 range, minus 15 SPA, and 50% crit damage. Like, if you compare them, the only thing that you gain is 20% flat damage, and you get 5% less SPA, and that's about it. And then you just lose 35% crit, 30% critical damage, and a gazillion amount of range, which doesn't really matter that much, but can be cool depending on the unit. So I think All Seeing is better, even for like pure damage purposes, like a lot more crit damage and a lot more crit actually. So I would put All Seeing above Shinigami, but that's my opinion. If you disagree with it, feel free to. Obviously, that's pretty much it for the mythical passives. Sorry, the celestial ones. I'm still not adjusted to that. And then we go on the A tier, where we have the 3 mythical damage passives. Obviously, Demigod is far superior. And yeah, 20% damage, 10% range, minus 5 SPA. I honestly think that and Vulture, which is the next in this list, is really not that far of one another in terms of like damage. Might be wrong, but I actually don't think that Vulture is that much worse from Demigod. Maybe it's even better, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just getting baited from the thought of like crits. But yeah, I have a feeling that if you're running crit build, Vulture is better than Demigod. So keep that in mind. Vulture plus crit build might be better than Demigod in terms of performance. Anyway, Vulture 25% range, 5 SPA, which is the same as Demigod, and then 15% crit and 25% critical strike damage. That's why I'm thinking that if you're running crit build on a unit, Vulture might be better than Demigod. That's just my thought. And then we have Cosmic, which is just 10% damage, 10 range, and minus 10 SPA. I guess it's just a decent passive, like nothing too crazy, but it's just like, it's pretty decent. If you get it, just save it for now. And then lastly on the B tier, we have Entrepreneur, which is pretty decent damage-wise. It is the best money in the game. So if you are really willing to get like a good money curse on your idol, go with that. Like that's the best one by far. And then it should be Diamond, the mythic passive, and then it should be Golden, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, damage-wise, it's like better than the legendaries. It gives 15% damage, 10 range, minus 5 on SPA, and then you see Juggernaut just gives 12.5 damage, so it's even worse, and 2.5 SPA, which is half from Entrepreneur, and then just Hyperspeed with just a bunch of SPA, and that's pretty much it regarding the tier list for the curses. Now, I think that All-Seeing and Vulture are better than the other counterparts that I put in the tier list personally. And that's kind of good because like the chances to get them are a lot better. Now, ironically enough, guys, I have rolled 1 Demigod and I've rolled 3 Cosmics and I have not gotten a single Vulture. And unfortunately enough, I haven't gotten a single Celestial curse quite yet. But you know, maybe one day at some point, who knows. And yeah, that should cap the tier lists just like that. Now, I don't think that they affect the talent builds at all, like except the Vulture one. I don't think the rest of them just affect the tier lists. Actually, maybe All-Seeing, but I don't think that All-Seeing can compete with the other quirks in the S+ tier list. Like I think both of Overlord and Avatar are just way too strong. So even if you have like a unit that plays around crit skill tree, even with All-Seeing just providing close to 100% crit, it still wouldn't compete because these are just like a clear cut above the rest, but nonetheless they are pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions regarding the curse techniques or anything else, because the game is pretty new, a lot of people have a lot of questions, feel free to let me down below in the comments and I will answer you as soon as I see that. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it for now. I'm just gonna keep on suffering in this, grinding emeralds. Apparently there is gonna be an update, I think today, if I'm not mistaken, the way I understood it. There's gonna be new units and new evos, and they might actually drop Saber because they teased here in the sneak peeks. So yeah, make sure you guys farm some emeralds. Just farm Namek 1 on Nightmare difficulty, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.